Anymore, are we? For folks who have been on board for a decade and more, have known about the stolen elections, the evil CIA controlled media, and so much more. But there are still many in California and other places who have no clue. The amount of information sent out won't work until people actually see it and feel it. We will get into this today with all that occurred over the weekend and amazing comms out of the White House and so much more. You don't want to miss it. We're at 511,000 followers on Rumble. We thank you for that. We appreciate hitting that follow button. Also, hitting that like button on our videos gets us to the top of the leaderboard. We were number 2 last week in one of our shows, and we just can't thank you enough for all of your support. Also, you support us by getting our gear, our T-shirts, hats, and gear, and more at amweknow.com, shop.amweknow.com. We've got our new Bedazzled Crew neck and T-shirts available in different colors. Also, you can take our Father's Day gift guide, take 20% off your order, use code DAD. That is really cool. Now, I wanted to show you this first. You're listening to this dark music. This came out from Dan Scavino, and it looks like there's a wolf among the sheep. To me, stay in the shadows until it's time. Interesting. Not OpQ said, I think what President Trump is the greatest person to have walked this earth, and so are persons like Q who have been working in the shadows for the good of all. He pulled that quote from the Q board where you have in the shadows, Godspeed everyone, Godspeed. On a side note, any chance after USA has been uncorrupt? Can you maybe sort out the UK? We are hurting. May has neutralized MI6 undergoing house cleaning. Queen and monarchs are seeking shelter. Patience. These people are stupid. And again, one thing after another is being revealed. Now, many of you probably already saw this on social media and maybe on television. We're going to play these clips anyway. President Trump sitting with a demon-possessed woman.
In the midst of the greatest stock market in history, in the midst of the most successful country, because as you know, in the last term, we were a dead country, Kristen. I know you're a big liberal or a big progressive.
No, but I'm just a journalist.
We were a dead country. A year ago, a couple of years ago, we were a dead country. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. And at the all-time hottest point, which is probably now, believe it or not, we just had all brand new stock market records today.
So if you're paying attention, I just played this quick clip because we're about to get into the point where you saw basically a tiny clip from the intro on what actually occurred while he was basically put outside with the rain from this stupid network that just, they actually do not know what they're doing. NBC's Meet the Press, when it comes to real journalism, all they do is try to play gotcha and pretend that they have all the answers, and the President of the United States has no answers whatsoever. If you're looking at your screen, you see this person's face, Trump derangement syndrome, stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It gets worse and worse as she continues to get demolished. Fugitive Caesar actually replied to Alex Cole when Alex Cole said Obama never ran away in the middle of an interview. Because President Trump, you're going to find out, walks out on this interview like you saw in the intro. Right? Fugitive Caesar said, let me know when a journalist even once interviewed Obama like this. Because you don't. If Obama would have said, yep, there's stolen elections and this is what's going on, and would have talked about, what happened with J6, if it would have been on his side, they would have said, oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, we did our investigations as journalists and we discovered a lot more than you did, sir. And we've got plenty of evidence for you if you need our help. Well, when President Trump, the President of the United States, who has more information than we could ever imagine, points the truth out, they go ballistic. The demons inside their bodies, I think that some of these folks have been programmed, like this Kristen Welker person. It's just how I think. I could be wrong. You guys can get upset with me if you want, but the way she behaves and acts, as if she's the know-all to everything. She's been in all the meetings with the military, with the Space Force, with all the top secret evidence and more, and she has the answers. Not President Trump. He doesn't have the answers. The press has the answers. And she treats him like dirt. We're going to play a few minutes of this, and I'm going to pause and show you some info.
$8 billion so-called anti-weaponization fund. It was going to compensate people who say the federal government weaponized the legal system against them. It's been blocked by the courts, met with opposition from Republicans
and Democrats
in Congress and Democrats.
Excuse me, mostly Democrats.
Mostly
some
Democrats and some Republicans.
Some. Very few Republicans.
Just to be very clear, are you backing off the fund completely, as your acting Attorney General Todd Blanche has said, or are you looking for another avenue to revive the fund?
Let me explain what the fund is. People have been...
Remember the fund for those J6 people who were mistreated. That's what she's talking about. They're having a hard time with it. They can't believe it. They have to keep this J6 narrative going, that all these people who were basically told, come on in, which I'm going to show you that video clip in a moment, just as a reminder, where the police just said, come on in toward this place. And then they went after all the people that went inside after they let them in. At the dead of night, 2 o'clock in the morning, grandkids, kids, all terrified, people put in jail for no reason that didn't do anything wrong, when the real people that should have went to prison were the FBI agents, those actors that were hired, the filmmakers and more, who were all hired to make this whole J6 thing look like it was the Republicans who did it. Yeah, we know the truth.
Hurt so badly by radical left lunatics that worked for the Biden administration and Sleepy Joe. They're vicious, they're violent, what they did to people. And of course, they went after me more than anybody else.
And you hear that scratchy sound, that's rain. So they basically interviewed him in what appears to be like a barn. Okay? The President of the United States, come on out here, sir, while the rain's pouring. We're going to interview you.
Mar-a-Lago and all the other things. But people have been badly hurt. They've committed suicide. They've lost their jobs. They've lost their families. They've lost their wives. They've lost everything. They've lost everything over a fake weaponization of government. Now,
so
let me just tell you.
Are you looking for a way to revive it?
Well, look, if it was up to me, I'd pay them the kind of money that they deserve. People have been destroyed. Lives have been destroyed. Many suicides. Think of it. People have committed suicide because a bunch of thugs went after them. So, me, personally, I think the weaponization fund is a great idea. And so do many other Republicans. You have to get it approved. If they get it approved, that's great. If they don't get it approved, I'd be disappointed.
All right, we're going to motor through this.
But you have to understand, people have been destroyed by crooked politicians, and they should be reimbursed for that.
Do you think anyone who attacked police officers on January 6th should get taxpayer money?
I wouldn't be inclined to say so, but I have to see it. I can tell you this, 97% of those people, you look at them, the FBI or whoever it was, because you had a lot of crooked cops, you had dirty cops. Comey was a dirty cop.
Well,
a guy like Bolton was a dirty cop.
But there's no evidence.
Wait a minute. Oh, you think Comey was a straight cop?
People who pleaded guilty to assaulting police officers.
Comey was a dirty cop.
No,
they had FBI. Listen to me. They had FBI agents ushering them into the building. They had FBI go into the building. Those people walking around, they're looking always in this night.
Now, let's pause here. Okay? He's telling her to her face what was going on. And she's basically continues, she's going to attack him and tell him there's no evidence. Let's just show you a small clip here. January 6, 2021. It's kind of a new clip that I didn't even notice was out there. Officers are clearing the way for the peaceful march. As they opened up, remember that magnetic, gigantic door that only be opened by pushing a button to allow people in. Remember, it's a gigantic door. You got to buzz them in, remember? And I don't have time to go through all the evidence again. You guys go back through my J6 stuff. You go back and find my old videos. And we go through this. Go through Woo's News, WOOZNEWS, and his videos as he uncovers the whole thing, how it played out with these actors that went out there to rope everybody in and make it look like it was the Republicans who were demanding and terrible and breaking windows and hitting police officers and more. And there they are, just strolling in. And the cameras are grabbing, pictures of their faces so they can go raid their homes at 2 o'clock in the morning and scare everyone to death so that they never go back to the White House to exercise their right as Americans to say, guess what, you better ensure that these elections aren't certified because we know it was stolen. So you're just walking around like, wow, this is nice. I'm glad that they let us in. The crowd's so dangerous. The officers turn their backs. There's nobody getting beat up there. The show that they gave us was the one that we paid everybody off and all the acting that was playing out. So let's get back to her answers as he continues to talk.
Walking around.
Let's get back to here, push play,
$8 billion.
and get back to that
You
spot.
had a bunch of dirty cops, and frankly, what they did was weaponization of our government.
But sir, there's no evidence of that. More than 1,000 people.
No, there's none. You know what you do? Try looking at the tapes one time.
Would you take it off the
Look at the
table?
tapes one time.
But 172 people did plead guilty to assaulting police officers.
You know why they pled
Should
guilty?
they be exempt?
Because they told they
from
were going to
receiving
jail
funds?
for 15 years if they didn't.
Should
They pled guilty because they were frightened. They went down. They were ushered into a building. Many of them were arrested without even going into the building.
You'd be okay with them receiving taxpayer dollars?
The people were destroyed by dirty cops and by weaponization. Many of those people should be compensated. Now, with that being said, as I understand it, the weaponization fund was going to set up a group of people, people that could be picked by anybody, fair people, smart people, and they will go on an individual case basis.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what's going to happen with the weaponization fund. I love the idea because people like you, the fake, dirty press, the crooked press, people like stupid Biden, he's not smart enough to know what's going on, but people that surrounded him, surrounded his beautiful, resolute desk in the Oval Office, what they did to the lives of people, they destroyed people. They sent people to jail who did nothing
All
wrong.
right, just to be very clear, there's no evidence of what you're saying. But
There's
let me
a
ask
lot
you
of
about
evidence.
Todd Blanche. Let me ask you about
Listen
Todd
to me.
Blanche.
Listen to me.
Let's talk
There's
about Todd
tremendous evidence. There's nothing
Well, it's
but
not been
evidence. The
presented in
election
a
was
court of
rigged.
law.
It was a dirty election.
Mr.
And it's
President,
happening again right now in
You've never
California.
presented evidence
It's happening
that the
right
2020
now in
election was
California.
rigged.
Right now, it's look at what's
Where's
happening
the
in
evidence
California.
to that?
It's
The
4
Republicans
days.
are doing well in
California. No, they're not. They're dropping fast because it's a rigged election. Let me tell you, it's 4 days, and they aren't even close to coming up with it.
That's how they count
You know
the
why they're
votes in
doing that? Because
California.
they're cheating on the election.
Do you have evidence to support
All I have to do is look. All I have to do is look.
That's not
and I
evidence.
listen. And I listen to people, and let's see what happens.
But, sir, that's not evidence.
Do you think it's appropriate?
That's how they count the votes in
Do you
California.
think it's appropriate that they have an election and 5 days later they're nowhere close to picking a
State
winner?
and local officials acknowledge they are slow. They're urging.
No, they're crooked.
They're urging the
crooked.
votes to be counted quickly. That's how they voting.
You see the face? As he continues to talk over her so she can't get her words in, she cringes. The eyes get big. The demon starts revealing itself through the face, through the eyes, as she can't handle the information and truth that's coming out. I've got a lot more to cover on this and what's going on in California and so much more in a moment.
White ones, we've got clear ones.
Tons of microplastics wash ashore all over the world every day. And now for the first time, scientists in the Netherlands have detected microplastic pollution in human blood.
All the microplastics and other plastics we are exposed to, we inhale and we ingest, that actually, there's so much plastic that it can even enter our bloodstream.
The Dutch study on blood samples from healthy adults detected tiny plastic particles in 80% of people.
If microplastic plaque is discovered in your arteries and veins, you are 4.5 times more likely to die from heart attack or stroke. Humans now ingest 6 times more microplastics than in 1990, so trust me, you've got microplastics in your arteries. Microplastics devastate our ability to retain muscle mass and even impact our bone density, making us weak and brittle. Microplastics are altering our DNA by causing DNA damage. This is concerning because it is a known risk factor for disease like cancer. They disrupt our hormones. A recent study shows sperm count and testosterone levels are lower than ever. Avoiding and limiting the use of plastic is not enough. We must take active steps to remove these toxins from the body before they do irreversible damage. BPA is degraded by Bacillus pumilus, a unique strain of bacteria found in kimchi. Another recent study shows that consuming kimchi lowers blood pressure, triglycerides, blood glucose. Kimchi has also been shown to enhance the quality of skin and hair, reduce risk of obesity, improve gut health and digestion. Right now, and we know viewers can get 25% off Kimchi 1 with code AUK at mybrightcore.com/AUK or call 888-317-9941 for up to 50% off, free shipping, and a free bottle of vitamin D3 plus K2 only when you call. Again, that's 888-317-9941. So let's get back to the demon-possessed woman here. Here we go.
Just like you're crooked, your press is crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked.
You're crooked. Meet the Press is crooked.
Fair, I'm not crooked, but let's
Really?
let's
Well,
You are crooked. Instead of asking the president, do you have evidence? How about doing your job there, journalist? And you got all this multi-million-dollar facility and more, and the capability to go in and show what the president is trying to tell you, because they've got everything that they need. You are not paying attention. No, they know what's going on. She's a liar, and she belongs to the father of lies, Satan, who's a liar from the beginning. And liars don't like it when they're losing this argument.
Play right into their hands. And
Let's continue.
You're either crooked or you're stupid. You play
continue.
right into their hands with this rap.
She's crooked and stupid.
You know that these elections are rigged. Your network knows that they're rigged. You know that
That's right.
I won an election in a landslide, and I got 94% bad press.
Yep. He won, and the press attacked him, went after him, tried to put into the minds of the people, the psyops were constantly telling the folks, oh, he didn't really, I don't know how he won, blah, blah. 80 million plus votes came in. It's probably a lot more than that. And they had everybody convinced on their networks that he's just this terrible guy.
Mr. President,
You know why I
you've
got
never
that?
presented
Because you have no
evidence.
credibility.
But you've never presented evidence that it was rigged. Let's keep talking about.
Plenty of evidence was provided. Many networks refused to cover it as 2020 played out. Remember, we covered it day after day as they went throughout the nation, Rudy Giuliani and others. Expert after expert, person after person came forward with their evidence. For a long time, we went for 6 weeks straight presenting that evidence. Meet the Press, remember, they're playing cover-up for their cabal.
I want to talk about Todd
You
Blanche.
have more evidence. There's more evidence than ever presented.
Let's talk
Your
about.
elections
You
in
went
this
to
country, we're
court.
like a third world country.
But, sir-
Your elections are crooked, and you're crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked,
Mr.
and so
President-
is ABC, and CBS, and CNN.
But, Mr. President-
You're one-sided crooked networks. All right, let's call it quits, because I've had enough. Thank you, darling. Have a good time.
Mr. President,
So at least he's being nice. He takes off his microphone and he says, I've had enough. I'm not going to sit here while you continue to badger me and tell me that I don't have the evidence. Who do you think you are?
please, I traveled all the way to Wisconsin.
I've sat
traveled
He throws the microphone on the ground.
in the rain with
all
you.
the, I know. I
I've sat in the
traveled
rain
all the
with
way
you
to
for an hour,
Wisconsin.
on and off in the rain, and I've given you enough time. You ought to straighten out your press, because you know what?
Mr.
A
President,
country can never be
We
great
traveled
with a dishonest
all, listen,
press.
we
Come on,
traveled
let's go.
all the way to Wisconsin for this interview.
He crushes the mic, taps her on the shoulder to make sure she's okay when she stands up so she doesn't fall, and he walks away. And look at that expression on her face, the evil. And she wants to tell you, oh, I had a talk and it was because of the rain.
I spoke with President Trump on Saturday, and we both acknowledged the complications during the interview posed by the rain. He agreed to sit down with me for another Meet the Press interview.
Yeah, huh? I'm sure. So let's talk about California. You guys know that Spencer Pratt hit third? Oh, yeah. All of a sudden, this mayor race for LA mayor got a little interesting as Nitya Raman passed him. Yep. Elon Musk said the reason ID is banned in California and New York elections is to enable large-scale fraud. When you combine no ID and mail-in voting, fraud is de facto legalized. Spencer Pratt fires back at Democrat Rahman's suspicious vote swing in the L.A. mayor's race after Decision Desk headquarters predicted Rahman would advance to the runoff against Karen Bass. Pratt pointed out that her surge was the exact same number as L.A.'s homeless population. Pratt, a net swing of more than 43,000 votes since Tuesday. 43,000, huh? Where have I seen that before? Probably nothing. Well, it's almost like many people are pointing out, you know, they went out there and they got all the homeless people together. There's 43,000 plus. Registered them to vote and gave them drugs in exchange. Here's some money. Here's some drugs. Here, just fill this out. Yep. And thank you. And they got enough ballots that they needed to shove those in. And what did they do? They gave them all to Rahman so that Rahman could pass Pratt. So then they don't have to worry about a Republican, in a sense, Republican conservative type of guy. He says he's not Republican, but you know, he's conservative. They don't need that. They want demonic people to continue to run that city and run it to the ground. If you guys didn't know, here's Shirley Weber on your screen. Shirley's the California Secretary of State. She's the key official refusing to fully comply with the DOJ's, Department of Justice's, demands for California's statewide voter registration data. She's the reason California is blocking a federal audit of its voter rolls. Weber was appointed by Gavin Newsom in 2020. The U.S. Department of Justice sued California Secretary of State Shirley Weber in 2025 to compel the surrender of unredacted statewide voter records, but a federal district court dismissed the case entirely in January 2026. The DOJ has appealed the ruling and the litigation remains active. It's extremely concerning how California can hide their fraud with absolutely zero credibility. So California blocking the federal audit of its voter rolls allows first-time voters to register using forms of ID that most Americans would find surprising, including gym membership cards, employer ID card, credit or debit card, prescription drug label, insurance card. California provides free health coverage to undocumented immigrants. This is it's permitted when a voter fails to provide a social security number or driver's license at registration. And the U.S. Attorney essay says his office believes this policy deserves a closer look. Of course. We also have serious concerns about how California maintains its voter rolls. There are open questions about whether the state is promptly removing deceased voters, people who have moved, individuals convicted of disqualifying felonies. Top of that, California allows third parties to collect and turn in ballots on voters' behalf, a practice known as ballot harvesting. With few restrictions, this makes it difficult to track who actually received, completed, and submitted each ballot. For over a year, the Department of Justice has been trying to audit at California's voter rolls. Federal law gives the Attorney General the authority to review state voter files and confirm that only eligible U.S. citizens are voting in federal elections. Dillon sent California a letter explaining legal authority. California refused to comply, claiming state privacy laws block the review, an argument that does not hold up because those laws don't apply to the federal government in this context. We've sued California in federal court. The case is before the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. California generally wants voters to trust its elections. It should open up its records, not fight to keep them closed. What are they afraid of? You know, something like this happened in the past. Just a reminder from MSNBC back then in 2010.
4 weeks after the November 2nd election, California finally has declared a winner in the Attorney General race. Harris finished so close to her Republican
Kamala Harris
opponent that it took a month to finish counting every vote. She won by less than 1 percentage point.
They got her right over the finish line. But, you know, November 3rd, 2010, the San Francisco Chronicle said Cooley beats Harris to win Attorney General race. What did they do? It took a whole month to find enough ballots so they can get her over the finish line and make sure that their demonic cabal freak got in. You think they're going to get by with it? I don't know. Some places, they're actually fining folks like this.
Been accused of abusing absentee ballots. Attorney General Steve Marshall says Jacqueline Boone and Stephen Thigpen have been arrested. Boone is the former mayor of Fort Deposit. Thigpen ran for city council. Both were declared winners in the August 2025 municipal election, but that election was thrown out over voting irregularities, and a special election was held in January 2026. Now, if convicted, each could face anywhere from a year and a day up to 10 years in prison.
Oh, yeah. 10 years in prison. Isn't that something? So I'm going to show you again right here. Do I have it? The microphone.
We traveled all the way to Wisconsin for this interview.
I took the microphone off, put it on the ground, and stepped on it. Yeah. Saw this from Trinity, ex-Trinity guy. Trump removed his mic on national television, walked out of NBC's Meet the Press. Only the second time a sitting president has done this in modern history. Kirsten Welker flew to Wisconsin a couple hours. She made it look like it was just, we do all this stuff. Well, they sat in a barn in the rain for an hour. This was NBC's flagship Sunday news program, the most prestigious interview slot in American political media. And Trump looked her in the eyes and called her crooked and walked out on camera. The weapon, direct on-camera accusation. You're crooked, just like you're crooked. Rejection of the fact-check frame. There's nothing but evidence. Tremendous evidence, said President Trump. California primary attack deployed mid-interview. 5 days, no winner called, he said. More authority reversal. A country can never be great with a dishonest press. The mic removal. Physical, visible, on camera. The exit line. I've sat in the rain with you for an hour. I've given you enough time. Welker's plea aired unedited. I traveled all the way to Wisconsin. NBC's response, broadcast the full confrontation anyway because they had no choice. The target, the adversarial interview format, the just to be very clear, there's no evidence rebuttal model, right? NBC's Meet the Press, specifically Welker's fact-check authority on elections, like she's the know-all, be-all. The premise that the interviewer controls the frame of a presidential sit-down. The math, the cost to NBC, month of scheduling, production, travel, broadcast slot, anchor credibility. One NBC extracted a clip of sitting president calling their anchor crooked on the air, on their own air. Trump's cost, 1 hour in the rain and a 60-second walk to the door. Distribution of the exit clip versus any answer he could have given, not comparable. Read that again. NBC flew to Wisconsin to produce a clip of Trump destroying their anchor's credibility live. Credibility on their own network, not live, excuse me. Every, just to be very clear, fact check in that interview just got met with there's nothing but evidence. That's what aired. The California primary, 5 days with no winner call, became his closing argument before the walk-off. Trump's demonstrated on national television that the exit is the message. The clip of the walkout gets more reach than any answer. Welker's plea, I traveled all the way to Wisconsin, became the moment that defined her, not him. NBC aired it unedited on Sunday, the full confrontation, because cutting it would have been worse. They're showing you the meltdown. They're not showing you what was actually built in that barn, a 60-second sequence that made the adversarial interview format look like a trap that only catches the people who said it. Welker came with fact checks. Trump came with an exit. The exit aired on her network to her audience in her time slot. You don't walk out on Meet the Press for a building. You don't remove your mic on the most prestigious Sunday news program in America for a warehouse. You do it when you need to erase something so completely that it can never be rebuilt. What Trump needed to erase was the premise that Kirsten Welker's fact check carries more authority than his own testimony. We've had enough. Il Donato Trumpo, the burner account for President Trump, said it's called checkmate. And he posted this at 1:07 p.m. Take out the 0, that's 17. It looks like the end. Q, says Mary. It's called checkmate. Now, the J6 stuff seems to, lose the memory of what she actually put out back in the day, 23 and 21.
The mayor of D.C. gave us a letter saying that she turns it down. Okay, we have it. Nancy Pelosi also was asked, and she turned it down.
Of course, it's unreasonable to blame.
Talking about the J6 turning down the National Guard. What does Kristen say in September 17th of 2023?
Former Speaker Pelosi or lawmakers on Capitol Hill for what happened that day. Pelosi's office says the claim she turned down troops was, quote, completely made up. And
in January 5th, 2021, 2 years prior, a couple years prior, listen to what she said.
President Trump announced tonight he plans to speak at a large rally of his supporters here tomorrow, many already gathering. D.C.'s mayor has activated the National Guard as a precaution.
Oh. How fast they forget.
When you were campaigning, you said you would rip up the Iran nuclear deal, but negotiate a better deal. Why didn't you negotiate a better deal at the time? Because after it was ripped up, there weren't guardrails, and they escalated their production of enriched uranium.
Excuse me. It takes years to do these things. These people have been fighting for 47 years. They've been killing Americans. They've been taking off their legs and their arm, and their faces have been hurt so badly and so horribly. I'm moving very fast. I'm into 3 months. You know, Vietnam lasted 19 years. I'm into my 3rd month, and all I do is say, whoa, when are you going to win? If I were a Democrat, nobody would be talking that way, but it doesn't matter to me. I've gotten so used to it. Look, we have totally destroyed their military. They have some missiles left. They have some drones left.
Do you know how many missiles?
Yes, exactly.
How many?
I don't want to tell you.
Can you give me a ballpark?
But they have some left. No, but I know almost to the number, and we know where they are too. And we know where their drones are, and we know where their drone factories are. Most of the drone factories have been knocked out. Most of the launching pads have been knocked out, and most of the missile manufacturing areas have been knocked out. But they still have capacity. They have some missiles. They have some drones. I would say percentage-wise, maybe 21, 22% of their missiles. It's a lot of missiles.
So with all this going on with Iran, the questions that she's asking and her eyes bugging out and more, we got this. Looks like mainstream media might be posting a few strange things. Pentagon sees growing espionage threat from Israel. Defense Department has increased the counterintelligence threat assessment to its highest level, and Israel is believed to have eavesdropped on American negotiations with Iran. NBC News, the Pentagon has raised Israel's spying threat level to critical. How did they get that information? Who gave it to them? U.S. officials say Israel is aggressively surveilling top American leaders to get inside information on the Trump administration's Iran and Lebanon strategy. New reporting confirms Israel's been eavesdropping on the American peace negotiations themselves. The targets named: Steve Witkoff, Trump's top negotiator with Iran; Elbridge Colby, the Pentagon's policy chief; and Michael Domino, who runs Middle East policy. American defense personnel in Israel discovered spywares installed on their phones. One senior official described the Israeli collection effort against top U.S. officials as unhinged. And the rating in context, Israel's counterintelligence threat level is now even higher than any other American ally and even higher than some adversaries. Notice who got targeted. Colby's the most prominent advocate of foreign policy restraint in the government. Domino runs Mideast policy. Witkoff writes the deal. All this while Israel officers sit inside CENTCOM with unprecedented access, while Congress moves Section 224 to link the two military systems and data permanently. And while Huckabee negotiates the framework, the Pentagon says the ally is spying at a critical level. Interesting, right, as this all continues to play out. I've got some more to show you on the media's treatment of President Trump, just a little bit, and how the left treats conservative reporters as a reminder in a moment. New Spring Wellness Center, your all-natural one-stop shop for optimal brain health and overall wellness. They're out of Osage Beach, Lake of the Ozarks. Folks, I've been there twice now. You can reach out to Chad and Katie Burrow for support. Are you a loved one or a loved one struggling with addiction? At New Spring Wellness Center, they offer a proven outpatient program that addresses addiction recovery like no other. Their brain restoration program is designed to restore your health, eliminate cravings, and help you achieve lasting recovery. Folks, I have witnessed it for myself. The changes in people who had addictions. They have faith-based support, IV therapy. They have prayer and so much more. John N. said he had alcohol and brain fog. He said, I came to New Spring Wellness for alcohol and brain fog, something I've struggled with for over 30 years. I tried AA before, but this treatment was unique, different than anything else, and it offered a better outcome for me. My head feels so much clearer. My faith has deepened. I've made new friendships, and I have no desire for alcohol, completely different than just 2 weeks ago. Around day 5, I started to feel a real change. There's truly no comparison. I feel renewed. The people here are friendly, professional, and knowledgeable. The patient care is excellent. I'd absolutely recommend this to anyone. Amber was addicted to Xanax for 15 years before coming to New Spring Wellness. Tried the inpatient and outpatient programs, counseling, AA. I came to New Spring to ease withdrawal symptoms in a stress-free environment and to begin repairing my neural pathways. A family member who works in recovery told me about it. Almost instantly, my withdrawal symptoms eased. and I finally had time to focus on myself, surrounded by caring individuals. The emotional support and brain restoration formula made a real difference. By days 2 to 4, I had more energy and better focus. Folks, I've talked to people there, prayed with folks that have come through this program. It will change your life. Go in the description box below and click on that link to change your life. So, remember the cursing as reporter from Lindell TV comes in to ask questions from this freak who claims to be a hero, the liar. Leftists are disrespectful to female journalists while they cry over Trump's interview with Kristen Welker. Look how the women journalists from Lindell TV are treated.
What am I?
Right-wing conspiracy theorist.
You told me to shut up and that I was repeating Republican talk.
To shut up again because you're speaking lies. And I
But you're right here. You're right here on record.
You're stupid for asking me anything.
And here's Ilhan Omar with her craziness.
Yeah? Yes. Well, what about the American people who are wondering how you made such a big
I have
mistake?
explained to the American people.
What's the explanation?
I have given them the explanation.
Do you want to tell our viewers? Because
I don't want to tell you, Jackson.
And so she's going to cuss her out. Again, all of them using foul language. Nancy Pelosi using foul language. This freak using foul language and more. Just a reminder.
You got a strong jobs report today that beat expectations.
Not strong. Really strong.
Beat expectations.
By how much? Triple.
172,000 jobs created.
She got tripped up on that one. You got a strong jobs report today. It was really strong. It was 3 times more than expected. She just gave the number 170,000. She doesn't want anybody to hear it's 3 times better because they're trained in that area to ensure the public doesn't really know what's going on. Now, Melissa Redpill posted this clip and reminded us. She's asking for the cabal. Check this out.
Do you know where all of Iran's nuclear material is?
Yes. Yes.
Would you unfreeze any Iranian assets or lift any sanctions up front as a part of any deal? So that would come after.
Comes after, yeah. If they behave,
turned
if they do
over
a good
their
job, we
nuclear
start
enrichment
talking. Yeah.
material.
Unlike Obama. Obama flew a Boeing 757, a plane I know very well. They took the seats out and they loaded it up with $1.7 billion in cash from the banks in Maryland and Virginia and D.C. They emptied out the banks and they gave them 1.7 in green and they gave them tens of billions of dollars, just kept giving them money and it didn't work.
He had to remind everyone again. National television, if this, all aired, right? Look what Obama did. So they try a gotcha question with them, to see, cabal, hey, make sure you ask them this. How about unfreezing Iranian assets? Lift some sanctions. If there's a deal. No, I'm not doing that. I know where you got your question from. He's not stupid. She's stupid. And then he says, I'm going to twist this and put it back in the face of the people. You guys remember Obama put a $1.7 billion in cash in an aircraft and sent it over to them. For those that have never been part of this or understood it all. Another wake-up call. White House put this out, Patriots in control. They actually said that with President Trump saluting the American flag behind him. Patriotic summer. Using a cue phrase. Start from the beginning. Small sampling of proofs. Patriots in control. You are the news now. Interesting timing with you are the news now when we just found out again, more than 90% of the mainstream media, all they do is lie and attack President Trump. The only support he's really getting anywhere would be the individual journalists out there that are doing podcasts and writing articles and more, understanding all that's going on. Worth fighting for. Got the reflecting pool. Homeland Security posted this reflecting pool photo, nighttime, showing how beautiful it is. Decline is a choice. We will never stop fighting for America. Now, I don't like this particular object. I wish they would maybe turn this into a cross. It'd be nice. I don't like this symbol. You guys probably know what it is and what it stands for and the measurements and more. Don't need to get into that, but still, the photo, the reflecting pool, and more. The other trash that was put out for all to see was President Trump posting this picture of the Barack Hussein Obama Library in 10 years when fully matured. What does it look like? Looks like a homeless escape. And Obama's library is basically a trash heap, trash bags inside of it. How did this cost $850 billion or $1 million to build? Unbelievable. So let's listen to what the FBI has been doing.
How did you do this?
Well, Kaylee, as you know so well, and as you advocate so much for our youth, they're our most precious treasure. And we made it a priority to go after the villains and the terrorists and gangbangers that are targeting our kids. And what we did was we utilized intelligence-driven operations. We took 1,500 employees from the FBI in D.C. and put them in the field permanently, working with our state and local law enforcement partners. And we went after the worst of the worst. And those stats, while those stats are meaningful, and those stats are truly historic, just think about the 7,200 kids that we found that got to go home. Mm-hmm. Just think about the 3,400, actually, when you take the numbers for this year, we're at 3,400 child predators and traffickers arrested. That's up 99% from the best year Biden ever had. That means kids are being protected at levels that are simply unheard of. And that means this FBI, here's another thing. We didn't just do the physical work on the streets. We went to the cyber community and we dismantled 3 million pedophile accounts off the Tor network where these predators prey on our children and think they can hide from this FBI. They can't. We are going to the ends of the earth and the cyber realm to make sure our most precious commodity, kids, are safeguarded. And the numbers speak for themselves because the FBI are putting kids first.
Yeah, I call them our diamonds. That's what they are. And I want to ask you about this. There was a hostage situation, actually 2 this week. And
our children first. They're also after this guy, if you're looking at your screen. FBI is offering a reward of up to $150,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of Herbert Leon Kimball, a member of the most wanted fraudsters list who is wanted for his alleged involvement in a large-scale healthcare fraud conspiracy that resulted in more than $1.2 billion in Medicare charges and affected thousands of Medicare beneficiaries, many of whom were elderly victims. Also, FBI Director Kash Patel revealed staggering figures regarding child exploitation investigations. 7,200 children identified and recovered. 3,400 alleged child predators and traffickers were arrested. Arrests increased significantly compared to prior years. 3 million accounts connected to child exploitation activity on the Tor network were disrupted or removed. While all this is going on, just wanted to make sure, a side note, just take a little exit here for a second. Did you guys know Chicago Bears lost their stadium? It's going to Indiana. We got a reminder that some research was done. State of Illinois spent over $2.5 billion on free benefits for illegals last year. At the same time, Illinois Governor Pritzker was telling the Bears there's no money for tax relief on a new stadium. Let that sink in. $2.5 billion the state of Illinois could have paid for a new stadium for the Chicago Bears. Instead, they spent it paying for lavish benefits for aliens, illegal aliens, while running a $3 billion deficit and losing a franchise they've had for over 100 years. This is what Democrat priorities look like. They hate you and will destroy your state for power. Other things that came out for all to see. This, H-1B visa workers.
The holders since 2015. Over 70% came from India and nearly 12% from China. And when you zoom in on this map you're looking at, you can see where most are being hired. The dark red spots show a high density of H-1B visa holders. And now we're learning more about the fraud within the program. One former official tells Newsweek that up to 90% of applications, 90% from India, contain fraudulent documents or involve unqualified applicants. And finance law enforcement in India claim it has uncovered a network of universities that produce fake degrees which were possibly used to obtain these high-skilled H-1B visas, including one school which allegedly stole over 36,000 fake degrees, sold, I should say. It cost as little as $1,400 for one of those. And while these are supposed to be high-skilled employees, during almost all of Biden's time in office, 83% got junior or entry-level positions. And now Texas is taking action, cracking down on those abusing the program.
Glad Fox is covering it. Global Letter put this out. India just published the exact list of what they were selling to get into American workplaces. Not vague fraud, not some bad actors. Named credentials, specific institutions, field by field. Medicine, fake medical degrees sold to applicants seeking hospital jobs in the U.S., UK, France, and Canada. Talking about India. Nursing, counterfeit nursing certificates with fake seals, fake holograms, fake registrar signatures. Engineering, forged engineering credentials specifically engineered to pass employer verification. One institution, 36,025 fake degrees sold while awarding only 5,455 real ones. Price per fake credential as little as $1,400. Total seized, 100,000 plus counterfeit certificates from 22 universities. Suspects arrested, 11 across multiple Indian states. Estimated fakes still in circulation, 1 million. H-1B approvals going to Indian nationals, 71% of all approvals in fiscal year 2024. H-1B holders who ended up in junior or entry-level positions, 83% during Biden's term. 11 arrests, 22 universities implicated, 0 of the credentials targeted military bases or government facilities, 100% civilian workforce infiltration, hospitals, engineering firms, tech companies. Every credential on this list was designed to place someone in a job that requires skills they never actually proved they had. Not contractors, workers in American workplaces. Ken Pax's investigation is still running. These are credentials it was built to find.
So it's not easy. We actually used AI, and we were looking for ads in China, and we discovered this company that was doing ads in Chinese, which nobody in my office speaks Chinese. But
not just India, China.
AI helped us interpret those words, and we discovered that they were advertising to Chinese citizens, Chinese women, to come over here, and they would use a tourism visa or HB1 visa, and they would allow them to have their babies in Texas, and then they'd, of course, get birthright citizenship, and then these babies can come back as U.S. citizens whenever they want to vote, to potentially run for office, and also to be influenced by the Chinese Communist Party. So obviously this is a concern. I don't know how many of these are going on across the country, but this one in particular has been going on for almost 20 years.
Infiltration versus invasion. They infiltrated. China using H-1B, India using H-1B to get in, Somalians, they're all corrupt and more. Good night. And a massive identity theft ring. What else is going on with the illegals?
Attorney General Alan Wilson explained the two managers not only failed to verify employee IDs, but helped the workers use forged identities to gain employment.
For instance, hiring the same person 2 or 3 times with 2 or 3 different identities because they haven't gotten the paperwork right. That kind of information. That is what we are targeting.
As a byproduct of those arrests, Wilson says Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, also detained 48 workers for alleged immigration violations.
So I want to make it clear, we are not targeting communities because of what you look like or where you work. We're targeting specific conduct. We're following the facts of that conduct. And if it leads us to a crime, we're going to prosecute that crime.
Officials say many of the fake documents used the names, dates of birth, and social security numbers of real U.S. citizens.
There was a real problem with the fact that just with a few $100s, people could get fake licenses, fake social security cards, LPRs, and other identification documents, in many instances of real Americans whose identities are being
stolen identities. 50 illegal immigrants worked using the stolen identities. Isn't it amazing? You know, something else that was caught? Tunnels leading into, California. It's kind of interesting. Listen to this.
How did you find this, and do you believe there are more of these?
Well, look, this was a 6-month investigation. It lasted a long time, and this is one of the new ways that the cartels, that these terrorists are trying to get drugs into this country. As you just said, this is a very sophisticated tunnel, about 4.5 feet to get all the way through. It had electricity, it had a rail system, and this is great work. Our Homeland Security Task Force team that's in California worked really hard on this investigation. We had 2 illegal aliens from Mexico and 2, unfortunately, two drug dealers from the United States as well. So, yeah, look, this has been something that they've been doing for a long time, and now that the borders are closed, they have to find other ways to get drugs in this country, and this was one way they were trying to do it.
So it's amazing the numbers that they gave out. They said it was 50 feet underground, 55 feet. 5 football fields equals 500 yards, right? They said it was 5 football fields long, which lends us to, Q55. Thank you, Santa Surfing, for this one. My fellow Americans, the storm is upon us. Q500 begins with DEFCON 1, 500 yards. Sometimes when they put this information piece out, what do? They use numbers that probably aren't exactly what the numbers are, and they go, let's make sure we give comms to the people and say 500 so they can look that up, Q500, DEFCON 1. And let's make sure we say 55 feet underground so they can go to Q55, my fellow Americans, storm response. Communication. Numbers, look them up. You'll find them on qagg.news to help you out. With all the talk of, all that's going on, gold becomes the largest central bank reserve on the earth. That's right. They're buying up all the gold. We had this talk Saturday, a video that we released with Dr. Kirk Kelly. International monetary system is built on collateral. Boy, did he uncover quite a bit on Saturday. I hope you guys didn't miss it. Just a clip for folks in case you missed some.
From the banks. And here's what the spinoff could be from that. Clarity Act passes. You have stable coins on the blockchain where a non-bank institution can issue stable coins and collect interest on it. And he's saying, well, that's not FDIC insured. There's no protection there. It's like, what? FDIC only has enough money to cover 2% of deposits anyways. Who cares? Right? So FDIC is underfunded. Bank assets aren't safe anyways.
Yeah.
And so here's where he's scared about what happens and he's rightfully scared because once this happens, you could see a run on the banks. People say, well, I don't need my money in the bank anymore. If I can get it on away from central bank digital currency, away from Big Brother oversight, away from these banks that have all this risk because they've lent out too much money.
So good. You guys don't want to miss it. You can go to amweknow.com/gold if you want to reach out to them, tell you they're going to help you out. You're going to get involved with getting out of fiat currency and that money in the bank and more, and bringing your IRAs over and getting your precious metals from him and watch it change your life. Now, a couple things before we close today. I wanted to show you the video where they're having these transgender marches, right? And Wokeness went and looked up these transgenders that they had on there stating, that they remember them and they were so hurt and they were, death by suicide, natural causes, or romantic partners is what really happened. So they're basically marching saying, look at all these transgenders and they're all dead now. We're remembering them. Well, they took their lives. Natural causes or the romantic partner took them out. So when you live the debauchery that they do, they end up having suicidal thoughts. Well, if it's such a great thing to belong to, why do they keep taking their life? And just a note for you guys on a positive side, look what happened with the Supreme Court.
Regarding religious liberty and whether parents should be informed and be able to opt their children out from reading books in the classroom that go against their faith. Shannon Bream is at the Supreme Court. We were watching for this one. What's the verdict?
We were, Dana. So this brought together a coalition of parents of different religious faiths and backgrounds who said there used to be a rule in this particular school district that would let them know when there were books that dealt with issues that may be in conflict with their religious faith. Well, so many parents were opting out that the school board and the school district quit doing it. Well, 6-3 today in a decision by Justice Alito, they said these parents have earned at least a preliminary injunction. So while this case plays out, they said the board has to notify them about a book that's in question or anything similar so that their kids can be excused if it's in conflict with their faith. He says, as we've explained, without that, Parents are left this choice: either risk their child's exposure to burdensome instruction or pay substantial sums for alternative educational services. Because at one point, Justice Jackson, during the arguments, had said, why don't they just go to a different school? Why don't you put them in private school or homeschool them? Justice Alito and others saying that's not practical for a lot of people. The dissent by Justice Sotomayor, joined by Justices Kagan and Jackson, says today's ruling threatens the essence of public education. She says it's not about bringing kids together to learn about a particular faith, but a range of concepts and views that reflect our entire society. Exposure to new ideas has always been a vital part of that project until now. The dissenters didn't think that the parents should get the opt-out. Justice Alito and the majority say they should.
You see the importance of these Supreme Court justices that were brought in? You realize what would have happened if President Trump didn't make it into office? You realize how this would have affected all of us? The folks were going to be told, you can't opt out. Your children have to listen to these books. You have to know everything that's happening behind closed doors. They need to be exposed to debauchery and evil while they're young. And the Supreme Court said, nope, not happening. Again, some other drops the White House put out and President Trump reposted. The UFC at the White House, remember, it's 1 week away, said the White House. Buckle up. It's about to go down. Buckle up. Who ever heard that? Only a keyboard. And if you're looking at your screen, as they built this thing on the White House, you notice they have the EBS, the Emergency Broadcast System, colors in the background there if you're looking at your screen. Huh. Remember we showed you Dan Scavino's post. There's some more connections there. Ripcord saw Dan Scavino's post on the Wolf Among Sheep video stating stay in the shadows until it's time at 11:26 p.m. Well, there's a Q post 3055 in March 14th, 2019, and posted at 11:26. And there's a timestamp match, of course, that 11:26. The end is near was the message. And of course, that 10-second video, these people worship Satan, Julie Donuts is showing us. 10-second video, if you go to Q10, I mean, everything's by design, folks, on this whole thing. 10-second video, the timestamp and more gives us even more information. Remember, the FBI and MI, military intelligence, have an open investigation into the CF, Clinton Foundation. Why did Comey drop this? Who was the FBI director during the Haiti crisis? How many kids disappeared? How much money sent to Clinton Foundation under disguise of H relief? Haiti relief went to Haiti. What countries donated big money to Clinton Foundation and why? How much was owed by accepting? When she lost, how would this be repaid? What did Obama do with cash just prior to leaving office? Repayment to those who donated for favors and access? Dig. Again, good people were forced into bed with this evil under personal and family threats. Could you live with yourself helping to cover up such evil, despicable acts if given a safe way out? These people worship Satan, and some openly show it.
For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you again. I'm grateful for how you continue to work in so many wonderful ways through imperfect people, leaders that are out there doing the best they can to figure out what's going on, where this evil occurs. And more we're being exposed to just how they operate. We certainly ask for continued support and for those that you've lifted up to give them the energy to continue to move forward, working day in and day out to protect our nation and many others around this earth. Mostly for our children, rescuing them. We certainly need your help. Without you, we can do nothing, and we know that. We ask that your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. We thank you for the daily provisions that you give us. We come to you asking for continued protection over many that are in harm's way, and protection for our own family and the way that we communicate with others around us on a daily basis. We thank you. We praise your name. In the name of Jesus Christ we pray. Amen. Thank you so much, folks, for your support. And thank you for all that you do to pray for us and take care of us and more. We're so grateful.